I'm making a bunch of cabbage. So I thought it might be a good time to film a video. So I'm kind of just having to eat everything that's in the fridge because my parents moved and I'm still in the house, and there's lots of stuff in the fridge and lots of stuff in the freezer. Not lots, but there's still stuff in the fridge and freezer, so I'm trying to eat that up. So I'm just making a whole bunch of fried cabbage and fried vegetables, which is a good thing for me to just have on hand so I don't have to think about what I'm eating. Because as you can see from the title, I didn't know I had a binge eating disorder for a long time. I don't know how long I've had it, and I have to say I'm not technically diagnosed with it, but I did explain my symptoms once in a group therapy on intuitive eating, and it was the very first intuitive eating or any sort of eating anything group thing that I went to. And so it was the first time I explained to a professional who specializes in eating and healthy eating and unhealthy eating. And so we just kind of went around. There's maybe 10 of us there. We went around and we talked like, why did we choose this group therapy to go to? It was with BetterHelp. BetterHelp has a lot of group therapy options. You can go on and you can like choose one a week. So I was going to a bunch of different ones, but this was the first time I ever went to this one. So like we just kind of went around to introduce ourselves and talk about what brought us to this particular therapy. And we all went through and said what we thought, and I'll go over what I thought. But then she said, of course, with group therapy, you can't really diagnose anybody. Even on BetterHelp, their job is to not diagnose you. But especially with group therapy, they're not doing any diagnosing, but they can say their thoughts. So this therapist said, there are some of you that explained some certain things, and I am 90 to 99% sure that this is binge eating disorder. I'm going to explain how I explained it there. The main thing that I was concerned about when it came to eating and overeating, because I knew I overate and I knew that I ate intentionally to make my stomach hurt as a form of self-harm. So I was, there is self-harm in eating disorders, and there are a lot of different weapons, I guess, when it comes to self-harm, and there are other ones that I won't mention now, but that I chose. But my weapon of choice when it comes to self-harm was overeating until my stomach hurt, and like making myself hurt and then also feel guilty and shameful about it. But then like just wanting to continue to eat, wanting to turn my brain off and not feel the food sometimes, or like feel the food so much in like by tasting it, but then like ignoring how my stomach felt and how the rest of my body felt and even how my brain felt. Just ignoring that, turning it off, and just like really focusing in on like what the taste was like, what the crunch was like of my mouth and like my teeth, and like how it felt there, and like really zeroing in and focusing on that, so I didn't have to focus on anything else, which is very similar to other forms of self-harm. There's a physical manifestation of something that you can focus on that is not like the more abstract pain. The way I explained it is like sometimes I don't think, and sometimes like it's really hard for me to like go into the kitchen and figure out what to eat. And so I would get things that I didn't have to keep in the kitchen and I could just keep close by. And then like when things got out of control and I couldn't figure out like a regular thing to eat, I would just like eat a bunch of chips or pretzels or whatever. And or cookies sometimes. Like one time, this is so silly and like I don't want to like call out this person, but one time for a birthday party, really my birthday party, I invited someone who was gluten free, and I put a lot of effort into making gluten-free desserts for this person. And I also made non-gluten-free desserts, so I had to be very, very careful in my kitchen about cross-contamination and all of that. And then this person couldn't make it to my party, and I had so many gluten-free desserts to that, you know, people who did come to my party didn't choose to eat, and I ate them all. I ate them all. I ate them all, and in not that much time. And I was also struggling with the dosage of my medication that I took, so that was hard for me. It was a hard time. So like I don't know. There was like I don't know how many cookies I made, like almond flour cookies, and they were good. I really liked them, and I recommend making almond cookies if you need to cut back on the gluten because they were excellent. But they were supposed to be for a party, and like you know everyone was supposed to share them. But like I like didn't serve them at the party, and then I just ate them all myself like over the next couple of days after my birthday. And also I'm a big like I like planning parties and stuff. So like when I had like my brain was able to focus on the party and everything, and then after the party there was none of that anymore. Like it's very easy for me to get post event blues. It's like it's a repeatable thing for me. So I was kind of in there. So that had happened already by the time I went to this intuitive eating group therapy session. So that was something that I knew was a possibility for, or like I knew that like I was harming myself. But I did not know that that was called binge eating disorder. And I think that there are, like, especially as a girl in the 90s, I learned a lot about bulimia, like more about bulimia than I ever asked to know. A lot about anorexia. And there are so many more eating disorders that go beyond that, that anybody can have, any age, any gender, anything. And sometimes as like a young person, like it can, sometimes things like this can come from different places. Like as a young person, as an Asian American, I was like, if you were told to eat, you were told to eat more a lot, and you ate more. So that is like something that was also comforting, because like that was a time that was good when you were being taken care of, when you were being fed. And like sometimes other needs are not, not so much ignored, just like not focused on as much, but like the food was something that you can rely on as being a way of being taken care of. And so sometimes that can manifest in like a whole host of different ways. Like I said, there are a lot of different kinds of eating disorders that a lot of different people can suffer with without knowing what it is and knowing how to help it. Because a couple of years ago, before I realized that this is what it was, I did not know like where to turn to be able to help with this. And now that I do, there's a lot of resources that opened up to me. Not only this intuitive eating course that I happened upon, not course, group therapy, but also there's a lot of books on intuitive eating, and there's a lot of books on binge eating disorder. One book in particular that I recommend is The Hunger Habit. I can't remember who it's by right now, but I listened to that and I got a lot of insight about how I feel and how to eat better. And one thing that I can do is make sure that I have something very easy to eat. I can just scoop it out, microwave it, and eat it. And that I'm making so much cabbage. And I'm also putting like hot dogs and fried and rice in it, of course. So I'm gonna keep on doing. So I just want to say, if there are things that you know that you're dealing with, but you don't know what it's called and you don't know how to define it, a lot of things aren't definable, but there is a lot of ways to help yourself, and you can take little tidbits from different sources and find yourself help. Yeah, so that's it. Thank you so much for watching this one, and I will see you next time. Bye.